If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/VillageXchange. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. Salsalita.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear
You know
listener.
what I have to say? We didn't start the fire. Literally, I just saw it because it's like side by side over here. That started playing like in my head. That one had a catchy little tune.
Is that next?
No, we already did that one.
We already did that one.
Yeah, in the 80s favorite stream. Okay, Metallica, Just a Bullet Away.
Just a bullet away.
We're starting at 6:59.
Yep.
Up to 14:11.
I should have kept that little Metallica icon thingy on, but somebody didn't tell me.
We did say.
So you said the 6:59 mark?
Literally, it's going to be the same one through this whole thing, so you can leave it up, okay? We're starting at 6:59. And let me get that timestamp. 50s, 58 probably?
Yeah. Go. Be quiet. What did you say? 7 what now?
6:59.
6:59, 58. Perfect. Okay. You got those lyrics for me?
Oh.
Just a bullet away. The band name is Metallica. The DJ is Ben. Y'all know what it is. Here we go. Song number 2. Metallica. Go. You hearing anything?
No. Oh, I hear it now.
You do? The hell's
But
going
I don't know
on
if it's your background music.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah,
killing me.
that's nice background music though.
Okay.
There's your there's the lyrics. All right, you guys. Metallica, Just a Bullet Away. Oh yeah, this is the next one on the thing. Sorry.
What did you say?
I was gonna like say something and then I realized it's like literally the next song.
Okay. You got this timestamped?
Yep.
Okay. So would you say 6:59?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Here it is. Bullet.
flame. Our reflections look the same in the shine of the midnight revolver. I'll hide beneath the skin, a hope so paper thin. I'm at the door again in the shine of the midnight revolver. Even the promise of danger has gone dull. Zeroing down the barrel of a 45. Suck on the barrel, suck on the barrel, suck until it's gone dry. For all reflections look the same in the shine of the midnight revolver. Purified, will nothing satisfy. The scars just multiply in the shine of the midnight revolver. Twisting in apocalypse, death upon the fingertips. Frigid metal touches lips in the shine of the midnight revolver. Because you lied.
The voices in my head.
That's the last line of the song. Is it? Is that it? Is that it? Is that the whole song?
Oh, you want the end? The end time is going to go to the 14:11.
Oh. 14:11. There's no way.
It's not.
That's got to be the end of the song.
Yeah, it must have been a mistake. Wow, and that was actually the end of the lyrics too. I see it down here.
Just a bullet away.
Wow. Stop the voices in my head. I think, okay, the concept of voices in people's heads, there's like schizophrenia, which is, that's something like different.
Wait.
What?
It's not over. Hold on.
the door again and the sound of the midnight revolver. Even the promise of danger has gone dull. Tearing down the barrel of a 45. Suck on the barrel, suck on the barrel, suck, suck till it's dry. Do all reflexes look the same in the sound of the midnight revolver? Cause you lied. Yes, you lied. Just a bullet away. Just a bullet away from leaving you. Just a bullet away. Stop the voices in my head.
1411?
Yeah, 1411.
I am not playing nothing. I'm going to let it play out. Right there. Okay. So then we'll have the next song.
Perfect.
Right all queued up.
You got it, babe.
Oh, I'm going to have to add points to this song because what they did in that, well, it's not really the middle, but the bottom third of that record was incredible. I didn't know Metallica.
I loved this one.
I haven't heard them in a while, so I probably shouldn't have been surprised at that. But that transition was crazy. It crept up. I like transitions that creep up on you. Because I feel like that's extremely hard to write.
Oh. I like songs that are like, that they feel creative to me when there's like something really heavy and then it breaks off into something sweet and then it goes back.
Yeah.
Like that song, your song you were playing last night. I was like, oh my gosh.
The one that CISO produced?
Just so beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then it just goes heavy. It's so good. I love stuff like that. I can't believe this one was just like an EP throwaway, basically. I mean, this is not a throwaway, but like, it didn't make it on the album. Like, what? How could this be something that didn't make it on the album? This one hits me different.
And that's the difference between, I was watching, you know, there was a debate, you know, Kobe or Michael Jordan. And the Lakers lost the entire finals by like 30 points or something like that. And Michael Jordan's son gets on TV and goes, "Don't ever compare this guy to my dad ever again." Because that would have never happened to Jordan. Jordan would have never got blown out by 30 plus points by the rival team.
Yeah.
The Yankees, Red Sox, baseball, Lakers, Celtics is basketball. It's like at that level.
Oh, okay.
So, and this is one of those things where it's like, you and your band are awesome. Okay? But this band, this is essentially a throwaway song.
That's what I mean.
The last two metal songs are probably the best metal songs I've heard, I don't know, the past 60 days, at least in the top 5. This didn't make it to the record.
That's crazy.
Okay? That's the difference between you and your friends in a garage.
Yeah, in a garage.
In a garage and these people.
Yeah.
These people wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, they're like, and like, here you go. They're like, not good enough.
Art.
Okay.
Art. Yeah, it was really good. All roads they lead to shame, all drowning in the blame, all reflections look the same in the shine of the midnight revolver. Okay, so first of all, I feel like there was another song that talked about staring down the barrel of a 45.
Yeah. There's a song, staring down the barrel of a 45.
That's the one. I think that's the one.
That's the only line I know, though.
That's all I know, too.
I can't believe we haven't covered that song. It looks like our folks would have definitely...
I don't know what song it is, but it's... Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So when we're... What is your take on this song? So we can just kind of get the overall view. Because I'm going to jump on a couple of the lines.
Hetfield has battled with... I don't know what kind of thing it is, but he's battled with some addiction issues. I think it might be alcohol. I'm not sure. And you know what it's like with them people, when you start really working on it, they talk about your higher power and all the rest of it, but like, you got to go back and start making amends to the people that you hurt and all the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, you just have to, when I'm listening to him, like it's almost like he's using the music in a Korn type way, like where Jonathan needs it to ventilate. Old Metallica was just, we're young, we're crazy, we're angry, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about war. You're not really going to talk about your feelings. Closest, you're going to say you're trapped under ice. You know, and so like you've got that metaphor, and you can keep talking about being trapped under ice, but in reality, you're just talking about your life.
Yeah.
And so you're complaining about you're ventilating on about your life kind of by proxy, whereas Korn, it's direct. This is what's going on with me. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna cry on the record, and I think that you know, Hetfield is starting to use his music that way. Mm-hmm. Like he's starting to say like, all right, I can get this out here.
So what year was this again? 2011.
Death Magnetic? I don't know.
2011.
So what do you got?
So in this song, can you just...
Sounds like one of your numbers, like lyrically.
What do you mean? Which part?
Well, the top 2 lines are your favorite topics. Right? Shame and blame.
What is wrong with you?
No, I'm just saying you're a very big, like, you know.
I mean, yeah, you don't... Vinny's funny because, like, embarrassment is not something that, like, the longer that I'm with you, the more I realize there's some mechanisms in you that don't function like the rest of us. Like, embarrassment, I don't think I've ever seen you get embarrassed. I remember one time, I thought I saw your face get pink over something, but I don't remember what it was. So then it makes me wonder if it even ever happened.
I was probably mad about it.
You probably sunburned. A little bit of sun.
People like myself and Dwayne don't get sunburned. We are people.
That's such a lie. I saw your
we
forehead
are people.
one time.
We are people of the sun.
One time I saw his forehead be
it's
a
like
little
Lamar
bit
Johnson says,
red
white people are
beneath the
afraid of the sun. He called y'all the ice people. He said the ice people. They're afraid of the sun. But go ahead.
So, well, yeah, anyway, so Vinny doesn't feel embarrassment. It's the craziest thing. Like, I'll be like, oh, they must be really embarrassed. He'll be like, embarrassed? Why would they be embarrassed? And then, sure enough, you'll see the titles, humiliated on the scene. You know, like, people put it out there, humiliated. And you're like, what?
I mean, literally, the guy gets knocked out in a fight. Oh, humiliated. Somebody's going to win a fight. Somebody's going to lose a fight.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Oh, I'm humiliated because you lost the fight. What? Somebody beat me in Fortnite. I was watching this. I was watching this thing like the most humiliating loss on Fortnite. Like, how is that possible? The guys aren't even real. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
I'll say being around you has like I do think that when you're in a relationship with somebody, you move each other's dials. So I used to like stuff embarrassed me like so much. Like you probably saw my face get red so many times.
I thought you had some sort of condition.
No, say wallahi.
Wallahi, I thought you had a condition.
No, I was just embarrassed. Like, stuff would embarrass me very easily. Not anymore. Now I'm like, the kids will be like, Mom, were you embarrassed? I'm like, no, I didn't care at all.
What changed that?
I really, being a part of this family, being around you, like, you're like, why is that embarrassing? And like, when you actually think something out, you're like, yeah, why is that embarrassing? Why is it embarrassing to lose it? Like you said, Fortnite or whatever. Like, there are some things that are embarrassing.
I fought some big dude one time. He knocked me unconscious.
Yeah,
I talked about it.
The first time you told me that story, I was so surprised you told me.
Why?
I just thought you would have been embarrassed.
Like, I took on a 6'4" guy. He's like 250. What was I doing? That's why I was doing them doubles. So I was like at $180.
One of the best stories.
I was like at $180. And, like, this guy is, like, one of the most, like, legendary people on the planet, you know, at what he does. And, you know, he's picking on you, boy. He's picking on me. Because I was small.
So you weren't going to take it.
And I was, like, the youngest. I was the youngest one out there. Oh, you're still in your 20s, blah, blah, blah. I was like, look, bro. Say that shit again, bro. We're going to square up. They were like, ah! But he's like, yeah, you don't want to do that. I'm like, man, nigga, what? Talk that shit again. We got a problem. He's like, all right, baby, come on. And don't call me baby. He's like, I'm gonna call you baby. Make me stop. Yeah.
He called him baby.
Yeah, so I set it on him. And then, like, a couple minutes later, I was like, yo, where we at? It's like, yo, you all right, baby? You all right? Tooth is gone, all type of shit.
Oh, my gosh.
Cracked rib. Thank you very much. I had to go on that fucking thing with a cracked rib, you motherfucker.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah. All roads lead. But what I find is that there's a correlation between the first 2 records.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before the first 2 topics. All roads lead to shame, all drowning in the blame. The people to me who, like, get the most ashamed about something, they're almost always going to try to find a way to blame everybody for something instead of taking it on themselves because they're embarrassed that they failed.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they'll use dramatic terms like failed. You know that like you'll very rarely hear me use the term failed.
That's true.
Like I don't operate on that paradigm. But like I don't know how to say it, but like the desire to have somebody to blame for every bad eventuality, I think is not a good. It's not a sustainable system over.
No, and
over
it's
time.
terrible in relationships as well.
Yeah, like you can't, you know, and I mean, some of this has to do with the fact that we're around each other so much. Like we don't have a regular relationship.
No, we're not.
We don't
Just
have
kidding.
we don't have a regular relationship.
Right.
You know, like there are not many people that get to work with their
together.
spouse and all this. So there's a lot of opportunities for that shit to happen. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of times where there could be a lot of blame because we're in a business together. So blah blah blah. Like we're like, for example, we're in a car and I'm like, damn it, we just missed a $10,000 delta. And I was explaining to you where the delta wasn't, and she got all quiet. She's like, so it's like, I don't.
You have no idea what I was thinking.
I don't have a problem with like, you know, being held responsible or saying, oh, this is your fault, blah blah blah. Like, because I don't think that every time something goes wrong, there's somebody to blame, but that doesn't mean there's nobody to blame ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially if you're the leader, you know, I tell the boys all the time, I'm like, look, man, we're the head of the household, so if the marriage doesn't work, it's your fault. Now, I know that's an oversimplification. And my kids know it's an oversimplification, but they get the point. People who like to blame, who are afraid of blame and blame other, that's why they're doing it. They're blaming other people because they don't want to be blamed themselves. They're accusing other people because they don't want to look inside. So what I try to do is work on the inside out with the kids and like feel all that shit, do whatever you need to do, but like on the inside of yourself, who are you? And you've got to have something that like brings you back. Like when you're flailing out and you're going all over the place, you get out of the freaking way and do some wall talking and figure it out. And I think all of us can figure it out to a degree with God's help. But
yeah,
that blame thing is just so powerful. And that's one of the things about being a Christian is that like really the concept of blame is taken care of on the cross. And it's one of those things where Jesus is like, you want to blame somebody, blame me. Oh, you had a problem with this, you had a problem with that, okay, blame me. Oh, you don't like what them white folks did to your people, lynched them on trees, that's okay, blame me. I'll take the lynch on the tree. I'll do it. So once you find a place where you can offload that blame, because a lot of times when people think about the cross, they're thinking about the blame that they have to contend with personally. Like, oh, I did this, and so Jesus is dying for that on the cross. But there's also the fact that Jesus is dying under the hatred of evil people. And I think that's very, very important for us to be able to identify with that, because to me, the cross kind of puts an end to the blame game. And so it's like, well, don't you want accountability? I do. But there's a difference between blame and God's discipline. Blame is like one of those bogs that you drive by. There's no outlet, there's no nothing. And it's disgusting when you drive by it after a while. Because that's a pond that's holding nothing but blame, and it's going to putrefy. And people don't even have to like come in direct contact. Hey! People don't even have to come in to direct contact with you to know that you're in the room. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're one of those bogs, and you just fuck up the odor of the room immediately as soon as you step into the room because you're so bitter. And so it's like, man, I don't want to be that kind of person. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't want to be a person that blames all the time. To me, the blaming thing, and again, there has to be accountability. So like, you know, if I say, man, what the fuck? Somebody, one of those, you know, the 3-year-old is going to say, Daddy.
Oh my God, he loves telling us.
And he loves getting people in trouble. He's, Daddy.
Yep, yeah, that's the
you
same
can't
person.
say that word. So I'll say, oh, not bad, man. Sorry, forgive me. He's like, all right. And then he you know, he keeps going. But like, I don't care. Oh, how is a 3-year-old correcting you? The reason the 3-year-old is correcting me is because we have a house rule. The house rule is you can't say fuck. That's the rule. So, I get pissed off about it. What the fuck? Somebody's going to call you on it in our house.
It's usually the babies.
They're going to call you on it. And
Little guy.
it's a weird culture where because a little person says something to you, because they're a little bit younger than you, that we're just supposed to disregard what they have to say because it's embarrassing to get checked by a 3-year-old.
I will say,
what?
The little ones, because we have a 1.5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Those are the small ones. They went through like a little chunk of time where they were like, they started trying to curse. And then you were like, yep, when you're bigger, whatever, but for now you're not going to be cursing. And they still would like curse sometimes, but it really switched when they would catch you or I and an apology would come out. Now they never curse. Like their radar is like, let me catch them and how they'll have to apologize to us. So it completely switched that up.
Do you have a swearing jar?
No.
You probably forgot about this, but we actually used to have
On
one. On the channel. And it was such a stupid idea because I was like, all right, if the thing fills up, then I can't do a reaction. And so the people were like, how does this help us?
Yeah.
like, okay, you're not swearing anymore.
So
but
now we don't have
they're
a
like, why
string.
should we be punished because you don't have self-control? And I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Get rid of the jar.
But yeah, like that blame shit, man, I'm telling you, it'll ruin you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll ruin you because... And here's the other thing, like... I don't know if I should say this. People become obsessed with wanting to beat me.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They get obsessed with wanting to beat me. And the other thing I figured out is a lot of people have these little, like, weird little, little mountains that they're like, oh, this happened, so if I can get one person to say they don't like them, then yeah, my day is complete. And I'm like, and people come up to me like, yo, man, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. I'm like, I'm okay. The worst one was somebody said that to me and I said, who? They're like, so-and-so. I had literally forgotten who they were. Literally, I'd forgotten who they were. And if I told you who the person was, you'd be surprised. I think I completely forgot about him. And so, like, all reflections look the same in the shine of a midnight revolver. There it is. Like, that's where blame leads you to, man. The shame game, the blame game, it leads to that because it's nothing but despair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's true. I mean, I find myself in that sort of situation a lot where I'm like trying to transition out of that, but I don't like being the person that failed. Like, I don't like being the person that didn't.
There's the word.
I'm being purposeful about saying that here.
No, that's good.
I don't like being that person because I always want to like come through, and in all of like my previous, I never had like so many responsibilities as I do now, oddly enough. Or maybe responsibilities that require something that's more outside of what's natural to me. So, before it was like, run the garden, mow the lawn, fill the holes so the snakes don't get into the basement. Like those things, like those are very easy, projects for me to accomplish because they require physical strength. They don't require a lot of, for me, like doing something physical, or at least at that point in my life, that was easy because I enjoyed it. So it wasn't hard to do. I find myself having a list of things that are hard for me to do because they're not things that I enjoy doing. Or, it's one thing to have one kid, but when you have 6 kids, it's different. Everybody has something to say. Somebody wants to talk about this person, and you have to, so you just feel yourself like stretched differently. And you can't come through on everything, and you miss on things. Like we were on the phone earlier and you were like, did you handle X, Y, and Z thing? And it was like, I couldn't remember if I had or not. And it was really hard for me to say, I don't remember. I don't remember if I did.
Yeah.
That was like, it was so hard for me to say those words. I wanted to be able to say, I called, I took care of it, it's done. But I really couldn't remember if I did. And I had already dealt with something like in that regards previously. So I was like, is it that memory or did it actually? Anyway, so I find myself in that place. And that, like, I do think ego, like a big ego or pride, is another thing that makes it hard to accept blame. Because again, you don't want to be like, it's like you're the one that's the loser in this situation. You fucked it up for everybody in this situation. I hate that stuff.
Dwayne says, Sori is our example of goodness. Quit your damn cussing, Sori. That's how I'd be going at home, too. I'm like, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. The kid's like, there's that again. But Sori doesn't. What's occurring?
No, they don't anymore.
Then I'll get a text. Is Mom okay?
Are you serious?
So what happened? Well, you know.
Well, you know. See, they don't tell me this. This is the first time hearing about it. I thought everybody was okay with it.
I'm pretty sure Mom said, fuck you. I said, mind your own damn business.
Are you serious?
Get downstairs immediately.
Get downstairs.
And then I died laughing. I slammed the door to make a big, production
show
of
of it?
because I wanted to project that I was angry, and I laughed so hard into my pillow. Is you know what I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah.
And they're like, pretty sure Mom said fuck you.
A lot of times if I curse, I don't even realize that I did because I'm usually pissed off. So they'll be like, you just cursed. And I'm like, what did I say? I don't know why I asked that, but I do.
No, the fuck I did.
Raise Us 3, he loves it when I say that because he's like, you said fuck. He like, his little eyes like light up.
Well, you see with me, he'd be like, I'm like, what did I say? He's like, I can't say it. That's what he do with his little cheeks. I can't say it.
And his cheeks go, yeah. Okay. So the other thing about the blame game
He
and
really
like
is,
not
he really
accepting
is,
responsibility. He is what?
He's really a terrifying child, that kid, because he smiles at everything, but then he flips immediately. It's terrifying. Go ahead.
Yeah, when he does, he can flip. Yeah.
So I'm gonna stay on his good side.
He keeps saying, "Stop the voices in my head," and I think that like when you're that type of person, you do have to deal with a lot of voices because you have the dialogue of the people that have pointed out to you that you're responsible for X, Y, and Z thing.
Yeah.
So those things keep going around and around. And then you have your own dialogue or your own commentary on one, the action that you did that makes you that puts the blame on you. You also have the commentary about what is that person like, okay, what does that mean? What are they thinking about you? Like, do they think this? Do they think that? Like, it adds a lot more voices in that regard. And we're spiritual people. I don't believe that we're just physical beings. I also believe that we deal with a spiritual realm. And so I think that there are supernatural forces, spiritual forces that are also, you're hearing that too. So it's just like, it can become like a lot and it can become very loud. And for me, the only thing that has calmed that is Jesus. So I'll pray. Sometimes I'm like, Jesus, you have to help me. I've tried that. That seemed to like help some. But the only thing that's actually been a real, actual, like, in the moment game changer that does help is when I think about the cross. And I think, okay, it doesn't matter. Jesus said that he loved me while I was still a sinner. He loved me while I was still a sinner. So that means he already knew this about me. And it says that he died on the cross for my sins. And it's forever and for all time. So that means it doesn't matter like what I did in the past, the present, and the future. All of that is covered on the cross. And so the God of the universe is looking at me and he says, look, I died for that. I died for that. I died for that. So when you know that he died for that and that is not, then it changes something because it's like, okay, ultimately I'm loved by God and my sins are forgiven through the cross. And so all that's left is to learn from this and change it so it doesn't hurt the people around me. Now, obviously, that sounds so simple when I say it, but I'm still learning, still walking out. Some days I do better than other days. Some days I'm like, that's not me. No, no, no. And then Vinny's like, wah! And then there are other days where I'm like, yeah, So, but definitely, the more that you don't like look at yourself, the more those voices will increase. And I do think that is the,
that line, redemption purify, will nothing satisfy, the scars just multiply, is really what you were saying. That's one of the big things about like Christianity that I wish people understood. How the cross informs so much of not just our theology, but how we interpret life.
Yeah.
And like, for example, we're talking about shame and the blame game. Okay? And so like people try to play you in public, and you're supposed to surrender your power to them and then be like, oh, your opinion of me is all of a sudden worth so much as to affect my self-esteem. You have to go to the cross, because if you were crucified, you were at the bottom of the barrel. Rome didn't even allow their citizens to be crucified. You never talked about crucifixion in common parlance, because it was just a, look, man, I've seen modern day ones, and it's the ugliest thing you'll ever see. Like, it's
Modern day what?
yeah. The Quran tells people, it says that those who are causing trouble in the city, crucify. So a lot of people don't understand that, but it's true.
That's crazy.
And so it's like, redemption purify will nothing satisfy, because that's one. There's this guy named Anselm. He was a theologian back in the day, and so his theory is there are different theories of what Jesus did on the cross.
Okay.
And one of them is satisfaction, right? It's kind of like propitiation. God is angry because he's a loving God, and so sinful actions are actions of selfishness that harm other people. And if you love people, then you're gonna get angry. If you're not angry, then I can assure you don't love those people. If you've ever had a child, you're gonna be angry at that child.
I love all of my children.
Here's the thing, though. When you're a parent, you get angry at your child for your child. So, like, when I'm
both, sometimes I just get angry.
When I was, you know, me and my oldest, like, we used to have wars. I mean, he's getting bigger. You know, he's gotta stretch those wings, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for us, there is a cross. So if you screw up, I don't have to punish myself. That's why he says the scars just multiply. Mm-hmm. That is I don't care what anybody says. Like, that's a good instinct, man. That when you mess up, you say to yourself, some injury should happen because of this. That's true. That's the biblical message. But the way that the Bible takes the whip out of your hand, you know, and so that you don't harm yourself, the way it does that is to say, we'll just beat Jesus. Mm-hmm. Just take it out on him. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm sure nobody's ever heard this before. You've got guilt, just put it on Jesus and beat him. But it's true. It's very, very true. And that's, I had a very good friend of mine say, why did the cross have to be so brutal? And it's because of this stuff. This dude has lived, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 decades on this planet. He knows what he's done. He knows what he's done. And, all of us are like that. And so it's like, you want redemption. That's why redemption is such a staple in Western culture. The concept of redemption. And when we talk about story arcs and all of that, we're looking for a bad guy and we want him to get good eventually. Like that, we love that paradigm. Yeah. Right? Or the opposite direction. How does somebody who's good break bad, like Breaking Bad or like this ghoul? Yeah. That's why that guy's so interesting to me. Like, what happened? Because you were like this big wholesome Americana cowboy, and now you're like this stone cold sociopath. Like, yeah, like I get that, and so like all of us instinctively know that we need redemption, and we also instinctively know that it should cost somebody some scars. Redemption purify, will nothing satisfy, the scars just multiply. Until you take it out on Jesus, you're going to have your own scars. That's it. Long story short. That's it. I am not a Christian because I'm some good, virtuous person and I'm going to make a difference in the world and all that shit, stars in your eyes and all that. I'm not that person, man. I'm an extremely selfish, self-absorbed individual. I am. But the reason I can keep getting up and trying again is because I'm already redeemed. I don't need to beat myself up. Jesus has already taken the beating. Mm-hmm. Okay? a lot of y'all were given a bunch of religion to control you, and Jesus came to set us free. And I could tell you very much that if it was me and all the things I've done in my life up to this point, I don't know what kind of person I'd be. And if you're a Christian, the idea that you can just put all your evil shit on Jesus and know that you're good with God, like, there's a million benefits to being a Christian, but that's got to be up there. And this is the reason why our culture is so ruthless. It's because we have a crossless culture. So you said some shit 10 years ago, you were fucked up on, ecstasy, whatever it was, and then for some reason your friends didn't take your phone from you, you end up on Twitter, you say some dumb shit 10 years ago in a drunken state. Now here you come, you want a job, or you want to do some sort of public service. Oh my God, look what Ben said 10 years ago on the internet at 3 o'clock in the morning when he was fucked up on ecstasy. Look what he said. And there's no redemption. It's, we're going to cancel you. And, cancel culture, I guess that's dead now and all that. But, like, you see in our, and it's funny because you did this show on apologies or whatever, and which apologies are accepted and which apologies.
It was on Netflix. It was really interesting.
Which apologies are accepted, which apologies are not accepted.
Yeah.
That's why, like me and you be getting in arguments. You're like, I can't believe you did that to me. I'm like, my bad. I'm bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, my bad. I'm like,
yeah, that was a real discussion that we had, because for me saying I'm sorry, it honestly was a lot harder. Now it's so easy to say. Now I'm saying I'm sorry so many times that, like, is there even anything left to it? But like the shit, what was I saying?
Oh, I was talking about cancel culture and how
the apology.
Redemption.
Oh yeah, that apology thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watched that thing on the apologies and, like, saying sorry, and to me it was like, I felt like that you weren't saying, to me, say I'm bad, my bad is so simple, and it's not like, it doesn't carry with it the humiliation to me that I'm sorry does. I think because I'm sorry feels childish to me, and it seems like something, like that was something that, like, as children, I never heard adults saying it. So to me, it's a child's thing. So when I'm saying I'm sorry, I feel like I'm becoming like a child in the situation. So I think that I had way too much baggage on it. And then when you would say my bad, it was just like you were acknowledging you did the wrong thing. Obviously you're not going to try to, but it seemed so, even to this day, if I say my bad, I still feel like I didn't, like, maybe I feel like you have to feel like shame. Otherwise, it's not real. Maybe that's what I feel. Maybe that's what I, at the core, think. Because if I say my bad, like, there are some times where I'll apologize, and maybe if the person doesn't acknowledge it enough, or I'm like, maybe they don't really think that I'm sorry, I'll apologize 2 or 3 times about the same thing. But I won't let my kids do that. I'll be like, stop apologizing. You already said I'm sorry. We're moving on. But yeah, interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, and I get what people say about accountability and all the rest of it. That's cool. But all my sins are going on Jesus. When I'm not a, look, man. It's like Archero said. These people in the cancer culture stuff, the Me Too stuff to some degree, it is we as the cultural Sanhedrin are now opening up the trial. You said this 10 years ago. You have since built 17 wells in Africa, sent 5 children you didn't know to college, etc., etc. But you did this one thing, or you said this one thing. You're that forever. You literally have people still mad at Michael Vick for the dogfighting stuff.
Oh.
Literally. Still mad at, he can't make it to the Hall of Fame.
But that Olympian got in there after he raped that person,
right,
child?
and then Karl Malone had a child with a 13-year-old when he was an NBA superstar.
And people aren't angry about that?
No, he got away with it.
Man, people's priorities are all.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like who our culture decides is going to crucify, and who our culture says, "Oh, that's fine." Like, you better have a paradigm of redemption and satisfaction and atonement and how to truly make up for the evil shit, you better figure it out. Because if you go by this society, man, forget it. Drive off a bridge, because there's nothing. If you made one mistake, bruh, it's over with. You know, I was telling somebody, telling one of my folks, and they're probably gonna have a pretty notable political career. I'm like, man, you got to take care of this, and that, like, immediately, and erase some of those people. I'm messing with you. Don't erase nobody.
No, you know.
I admit I never heard the bit about Karl Malone until Vin mentioned it. This is what I'm talking about.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
But like, God forbid a white person is like jamming to one of the songs that we wrote. Like, man, if you don't shut up.
I want to point out one.
We all suck is the point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This part, caressing death again becomes the heroin, forbidden medicine puts a shine on the midnight revolver. And so I've been a Christian all my life, but I haven't been able to really lean on the cross when I feel really bad about stuff. That's kind of like something that's new, like within like the last, I don't know, friggin' 4 months. I don't know, that I've been really like focusing my like energy on like, okay, this is where it needs to be. And that's absolutely real. Like, you get so crushed beneath it that your mind wants an escape. Like, you cannot live underneath the weight of the guilt and the blame from yourself, from other people, from everything. And so you're trying to parry anything that comes your way, no matter how important or insignificant it is. And then because your mind needs an escape, you will find one. And so, and I said this on the channel, you know, a number of different times. Like, this was also something that I had looked into. Like, there's different types of, you know, if people don't want to be alive anymore, there's different reasons why people will get like that. And one of them is, it doesn't mean that you don't actually really want to be alive. It just means that you're so desperate for an escape from whatever is tormenting you that you would take that because it's an escape hatch. And so it's not that you don't want to be alive. If there was a way to be alive and be free from that blame and the weight that is, then you would take it, but you don't see a way out. And so that's the only way out that you see. So when he says caressing death again becomes the heroin, forbidden medicine puts a shine on the midnight revolver, I'm like, that's what I believe that's what he was doing is, you know, for myself, when I talk to myself, I call it death porn. And I'm like, it's, you know, when you think about your escape from that situation, like, if you focus too much on the guilt and you have no place to put it, now I put it on the cross, and that's like that's my escape, is I put it on the cross, I think about Jesus, and I'm like, okay. And that helps me from thinking about other escapes that are not, you know, like he explains here. So, cause also I don't want to die. Like, I love my kids. I love my family. Like, I love what we do with the channel, but I don't like living underneath the weight, the absolute weight. And if you've ever seen Pilgrim's Progress, Christian is carrying around this giant pack on his back. And I remember when I was a kid that I was like, man, I wish I had that burden so I could go to the cross, because it's so simple. I didn't have a burden when I was a kid. But absolutely, like, the blame and the guilt and all of that stuff can really become like a burden. And so if you can release it, you're looking for a release, you're looking for an escape hatch. So that's Jesus, all the way Jesus. And he's also the one that silences those voices, because his voice is the sound of many waters. And man, when he comes through, like, I mean, everybody's experience with God is different. When he talks to me, sometimes it's really, really clear. And sometimes he tells me things through other people. Like I told you the other day, one last story, guys. I know we're dragging this one out, but I was having a really rough day a little ways back, and I was like, I escaped my way to cry. And I was asking God, I was like, please, I just need you to be like right here with me. And I was like hoping that like somebody would come by and be like, oh, would you like some prayer? But it like never happens. Nobody ever does that. I'm like, where are all the Christians and what the fuck are they doing? Anyway, so I'm talking to God, and I felt like, you know, I got some really clear stuff in the Bible that was just really like amazing. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this verse, and it connects to this one. It was really cool. But when I got back, my 3-year-old came up to me, and he's like, Mom, he said, what is God's name when we're crying? And I actually think he said when you're crying, but he said maybe he said when we're crying. I can't really remember. And I didn't know the answer to the question. So I looked it up, and then I came across Jehovah Shammah, which I guess comes from the book of Ezekiel, but it means like God is present and God is here. And so I was like, wow, like I felt like that was God telling me, like, where's this random kid like randomly bringing up what's God's name when we cry? And I literally had just gotten done, crying, but he had no idea that I was. And so then I look it up and it says that God is present, God is here. And so I'm like, okay, Jesus was right there with me in that situation. And then he brings it to, but I thought, he probably asked that question because kids, they fight, they cry, they whatever. He's probably asking what's God's name when he cries. Cause he's like, he'll be angry at me if I not angry, but today he was like, I really needed you to pray for me yesterday and you weren't around to pray for me. I said, well, honey, you didn't even ask me to pray for you. He's like, well, that's okay. You can pray for me today. So anyway, he's unbelievable. So I asked him, I said, why did you ask me about what God's name is when we're crying? I said, is that because you wanted to know like what God's name is when you're crying? He goes, no. I said, so why did you ask that question then? He goes, it just came in my head. And that's exactly how God talks to us, is it's a thought that comes into your head. But it's not one of those crushing ones that it's like this uplifting sort of thought that catalyzes you into something bright and something good. And so I'm like, this is amazing. Like God was speaking to my 3-year-old to give me a message that he's right here and he's present. So I'm like,
that's the thing. That's why the scripture says, why do you contend against him, saying he doesn't answer man's word? But God does speak. Mm-hmm. Though man may not perceive it. So a lot of it is, I used to have a Christian who's like, how does God speak to you so much? I'm like, I guarantee he's speaking to you too, bro. You just gotta tune in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys don't have to get pushed to the brink of death like I had to. But anyway, 9.4 for me.
9.6 for me. I liked this one.
These lyrics are,
to be honest with you, this one's probably a 9.8. 9.8.
These lyrics are deep as hell, bro.
9.8. It's very relevant for me, obviously, now that I...
Shout out to Mark Games. Oh no, crazy Christians. Ah!
Here we are.
Here we are. Come and
We'll be
welcome.
right back.
We
We're
shall
leaving
return
now.
on the other side of the break. You're good.
Bye now.